Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Field of Dreams on ACTN. My name is Steve David and I'm your host. Today we want to talk about the game last night, a postmortem on the game last night. And I have with me three analysts who is going to discuss what they thought and have fun with it. Sitting next to me is Brian Williams. Welcome to set, Brian.
Yeah, thank you, Steve.
Hope you enjoyed the game last night.
Oh.
We're going to get into that, right?
We'll get into that.
Next, Brian, is Dexter Cyrus. Welcome to set, Dexter.
Thank you, Steve.
Did you enjoy the game last night? We're going to get to that too. And Anthony Clark. Welcome to set, Anthony.
Thank you very much, Steve. It's a pleasure always.
Did you enjoy the game last night?
Yes, I did.
You did. So did I. Before we get into things, there was, they interviewed the coach there after the game, and this is what he had to say.
We have with us head coach of the Trinidad and Tobago men's senior team, Coach Terry Fenwick. Coach, your first game in charge, away to the USA, a 7-0 defeat. What are your initial reactions to this?
Well, obvious disappointment. We knew this was always going to be a tough game. They've got a terrific side across the board. Their development program over the last 5 to 7 years is churning out top-class players. But having said that, I was really disappointed with the result, the scoreline. We went into the game with the game plan, and I can only think that some of the senior players, it was too much. The occasion, the USA, big team, we didn't have the big attitude, the big strength, the big strong arts, and we were very poor in the opening stages, and it set the tone for the game.
Okay, guys, you heard him. They went into the game with a game plan, and they came out without one, I guess. So I want us to have a barbershop discussion. We sitting and we hanging out and we talking about what went on in this game, because it could have been worse. And I could see you guys' faces. Everybody's like real somber. It's like, what really happened? I know the U.S. has come a long way, and they have improved a lot over the last year or two. It is a big game for us because U.S. is going to play Brazil and then Argentina as practice games after this one. So they're looking at big teams, so they're ready. And the team last night was pretty young. Not even the full squad. Neither was ours, I hope not. But they were pretty, and a pretty young team last night. But the U.S. has done a great job in their development. I know Clarky is going to get into all the development that we were supposed to be, and I heard you say that many, many times before. So this is the time for you to toot your horn. But let's throw it open and tell me what you guys think. Give me an assessment and how you feel about that game without beating them up too bad.
Who go first? Me?
Yeah, you, Cyrus.
I don't want to go too much against the grain based on not having all the information. I don't know why we choose that game. Because, well, I don't know why we choose that. Because obviously the result and the overall play, based on everything that would have happened in Trinidad and Tobago football over the past year, in 2019, that result was expected. I don't think that anybody expected us to beat America, right? Mm-hmm. But the choice of match is something that we need to know. We need to know why. Why that game? Why America? Why did we choose America? Mm-hmm. We choose America because that's the only team that we got to play. I don't have all the information. Is that the reason? Why America? No. Why? We ain't playing no football. It's no league going on. We was in a band for so much months. And we boom from that to play America. And that's America second string team.
Right.
Or third string team.
Right.
Like it's a setup then. You set we up. Well, we federation get some money or something, or what?
No, actually, it was the USA was supposed to play Serbia.
Yes,
and
it was
Serbia pulled out,
right,
and
they
right,
played.
and we
Yes,
accepted.
and we
it.
accepted.
So, yeah.
Right, so
So it wasn't planned.
America had a already had a plan to play on that day, right?
Right.
So Serbia pulled out. We in, right? I think you need to lead up to a game like that based on what was happening with us.
Right.
I
We
didn't
know.
mind the game. I didn't mind the game.
I didn't. You don't mind at this time?
Yeah, I didn't mind the game.
At this time?
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
those
this time, Frankie?
those are the games we shouldn't be playing. The Caribbean and so on. Right, just like how the USA is
At
going
this
after
time?
art, I didn't mind the game.
So everything that we went through in 2019, you don't think we should have led up to that game?
Well,
But
right, I will
we
come
could look at that as the marker where we need
right,
to get.
to play America. Because
Well,
let me tell
so
because
now we can judge it like
that
that.
being America's second string team.
Uh-huh.
America has some players in the top leagues in the world right now. Going and make that team double stronger, even stronger.
Understand, but that could be, hey, this is where we need to get, so we know how much work we have to do. It could look at it that way.
Of course,
Yeah.
but I am looking at the timing.
Yeah.
At this point in time,
All right.
we could have led up to that game. We could have played a game or two
I hear.
against low opposition because we know where we're coming from. So we're coming from ground level. You really feel you're good. You just want to jump to the 100th floor. You don't want to pass through first floor, second floor, 10th floor.
Well, maybe they didn't have to beat them, but they can assess how much climbing we have to do.
We have plenty climbing to do. We know that before the game because we know what happened to us. We know where we were at. We know
Okay.
what was happening with our football administratively, on and off the field, all those things. We know where we were. We're not like we didn't know where we were.
So let me hear what.
We lost 5 international games. We have lost our last 5 international
More
games.
than 5 actually, but yeah.
Well, our last 5. Well, right, more than 5.
What do you think, that, Brian?
Steve, driving up the road this morning, coming to the studio, I was saying in my mind, I hope I didn't even have to talk about about a game like that this morning, but so be it. We deal with reality. What took place last night is a true reflection of our present situation in football in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is why I come and I dealing with it on the broader scale. And if things don't put in place, to God knows when, situations like this will continue to occur. Because, as I always say, because of the lack of proper vision, preparation, and structuring and all them things of our football, because we keep stressing on that level. Seeing what took place last night was, to me, really, really a concern because number one, even self in our rebuilding, I asked myself, are these the best players and things we could choose from to really say represent Trinidad and Tobago? And this is a concern for me over and over because we will sit here and we will talk over and over about the football and the situation in football in Trinidad and Tobago all the time if we don't put things in place. As the coach mentioned just now, you watching an American team, 5-7 years in preparation. In Bremerton, in the USA, they have a home for football or a training center. All the talented young players that are identified throughout America come into a camp of such nature. So you nurture these players from an early age. So when a player have 5-7 years preparation under top coaches in the USA, you see the problem we're going with we here in Trinidad. In and out. There is no progression of players who the national team or Trinidad and Tobago football have already invested in, who went to national tournaments, international tournaments, etc., that they continue to the national senior team.
Track.
And unless we don't put those type of structures in place to nurture progression of our young players to higher levels, to senior levels, that will be the outcome. Because we always being challenged by proper preparation, I want to find out really and truly, Trinidad and Tobago looking at Qatar next year? Or are we looking to prepare a team for 2026? So then I could say, okay, we're exposing these young players. And in my opening remarks, are these players who I saw there last night are the best players, young players in Trinidad and Tobago? All right. I don't know, I'm not no selector, I don't know, I know all them things. But it's a major concern to me with our preparation, our structure, our developmental plan and them things. That's why I'm saying what took place recently give us an ideal opportunity to put all those things in place. And it's not things that our football technical people, expertise don't know about it. But are we going to put these things in place now? Because now is the ideal situation to do it, because we had the problems with FIFA, we was on this COVID thing and all them. So now we're trying to restructure and put Trinidad and Tobago football in place. This is our opportunity now to do such thing, to make sure that we could develop, or we could have those things, our developmental plan, and put those structures in place that we could produce our footballer to really represent us on the national team. Because on the last time I was in the program, I say our country football is measured by the performance of our national teams. Hence the reason we should look at our proper preparation, selection, and stuff like with the national. With a man who come to represent the national team, he should already be in a national training camp of such nature, don't get 2-3 years of proper preparation, even so from, let me say, under 14, under 15 levels. And those are the players that we saw playing for America last night. That is why Terry Fenwick and everybody can know, saying players who together 5-7 years now in America's system. So I really would, well, I know we want to talk about the game, but there's not much positives I see out from the game. As I said before, unless we have a strategic plan that we're looking at 2026. Because 2020, next year, which is World Cup.
Forget about the World Cup.
Forget about World Cup.
Yeah.
What you looking at what we see there last set, and you're saying those are the players to choose from to represent Trinidad and Tobago in thing. I could agree with Clark, I have no problem with the game. Because everybody's saying now, what should we reach? We have to, if we was a powerhouse in football, where we supposed to be measured with the Americas and the Mexicos and them things, people saying, boy, why we ain't play Dominica, why we ain't play them small side. But I didn't have no problem with the game to see where we at and them things. But I was disappointed last night for the level of football that I saw, which we would say from the best young players in the country, or who we could tap into. And that is what my major concern. So I keep stressing on what is taking place presently. We have to put all our things in place to prepare to produce better national footballers in the future. And that nothing.
Can't wait to hear Clarky on this one.
Yes.
Well, I'm not disappointed, because I have been preaching this for years. And I've said on this program already that since 2007, that this is what is going to happen. The last time you had a progressive program was when I was on the under-16 team. And those were the players that were at the 2007 World Cup. There was
2006 World Cup.
2006 World Cup. team from under 16, the Latapis, the Leon Sun Lewis, the Dwight York was on the under 14 teams while I was on the 16. You had the Hudson Charles, the Kerry Jamesons, and they just before us, Brandon, they were just right ahead of us. And you saw that those grouping of players made up the 2006 World Cup team. While that group of players took football from 1983, right, was when I was under 16, to 2006. And since that time, we have reached a stage now that that group of players is now retired. And you are seeing the fruits of what has happened, that you never had any real consistent team building process from the under 12s moving to the under 14s, the under 14s moving to the under 16s, and so on. Why everybody know I was a supporter of the previous administration, not because of the leader, David John Williams, but what he was doing. His philosophy was that we cannot make World Cup with this crop of players, and he started from under 8. So he squashed the national under 23 team, because Brand, you say in 2026, I say in 2030. Right? Because people fail to realize that when
10 to 15 years.
When the great England did not make the World Cup, it took them 8 years before they made another World Cup. And we are acting like if Trinidad and Tobago supposed to be in every World Cup.
Yes.
We're not in that league.
Yes.
So by judging the senior team, right, at that standard is wrong in the first place, right? Yes, we suppose, right? As a matter of fact, I think that the United States is the lowest team that we should be playing at any point in time. Yes, we have the Panamas and we have the Costa Ricas and so on, but that grouping who normally makes the CONCACAF thing, those are the, I'm in disagreement with Cyrus, respectfully so,
Yeah, no problem.
that we don't play yes, we have to play them because they have to come up as well, but the Barbados and the Antigua and the Ghana, I don't agree with that. I have more to say, but I know that we have to go to a break soon, Steve.
How do you know you have to go to a break?
Well,
man?
I know the timing of the program.
You hearing the
I hear
music?
a lot.
You hearing the music?
Yeah, right. I'm hearing the music and right in the back.
Okay, all right. But let me, before we go to the break, let me say, our United TTFA had plans to make that happen. They had already put in coaches for these levels, right? Maybe to pick up from what David John Williams was going to do. But we're going to take a break now. Viewers, we'll be right back after the short break.
See where the art is for after, when you're doing your breakdown of the game. Before, in preparation and everything, you have to put in the player's head that you're going there to win. I, as the coach, have to come up with a game plan to try to win.
We, from those encounters together, and this was a North-South game to open the season.
So the team might be playing well, as we always say with Trinidad and Tobago.
Futsal did that great for me.
Okay, hey everybody. Welcome to another edition of Field of Dreams and ACTN. My name is Steve David. I'm your host.
Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome to another edition of Scoreboard here on ACT, and it's always a pleasure to be in your company every Tuesday evening between the hours of 8 and 9.
Okay, welcome back, viewers. Okay, guys, panel. We've said, lay the foundation on what we think about Trinidad football and what they need to. But our main purpose here is really to break down the game on what happened last night and see if we can make sense out of it, or see if we can add or subtract some of the things that we saw, and let's just break it down. Let's just talk about what we saw on the game. Cyrus?
You want me to start? All right.
Oh, you want to start?
What I was disappointed in is that I saw no footballing philosophy by Trinidad and Tobago. I heard the coach speak about his plan for the game, but I think that there was no strategy or tactics, or the incorrect strategy or tactics went into this game. If you are saying that you have new players for the first time, the tactics that I saw out there was that he was playing a very high-pressed football strategy. He was trying to close down the defense of the United States and also play a very high square back line, which I suppose, right, to try to catch guys offside and so on and so forth. I would have liked to see, especially being the first game, to have a more compact team, both in attack and defense. So when we would have lost the ball, I would have preferred to see the team drop back, at least to the half line, just by the circle, make sure the team is compact. All those holes that you saw in our defense, the United States were just going through our team very freely. Why? Because we were spread out with the attacking players trying to close down their defense and the midfielders lacking behind. And if you don't have that cohesion, you would not get the timing of going forward and coming back. So I found that there was no attacking philosophy, nor defensive philosophy in terms of the coach's tactics. And that is what you saw most of the time when the goals scored. You saw our defenders running backwards to our goal. If he had adopted, especially as it being a new team, new players, 7 players, right, he said were right, their first caps for the game and so on and so forth, well then consolidate. Stay compact, make less spaces for United States to come through, have the ball in front of you all the time, and avoid them getting the opportunity to play the ball behind our backs. And that, in essence, is where I think our downfall went, or was, and I put that wholly and solely on the shoulders of the coach.
Yeah, Steve. I tend to agree with Clarkey a lot, because when I look at the game too, especially like from a coaching perspective, it's using players that you never saw before, new players. The team, they say the team, or it had some players who was in training in Trinidad here for about 6 to 8 months, but you took, I think out of that group, you took just about 7 of them to join 16 players on a trip to the USA, and we have to be real about it, that we know that the USA would be a strong opponent for us. So trying to play as open, the tactics that he used, I wasn't too comfortable with it, because regardless if I kick, I always say to my players, if I play a small goal on the beach, I want to win here, and sometimes I understand as a coach where sometimes results not important. I want to see how these players carry about themselves, how they perform. So in doing so, you're going to play a team which you're knowledgeable about in training for the longest while, for the last 5-7 years. And I'm going to play them with a team that I really ain't coach, or has had 2 days with them. So then you cannot play open. And as Clarkey said, he had to play, as we were saying, coaching, the second defensive line, deny America the space behind you. Let them play as much as possible in front of you. Because at the end of the day, I just always say, result is important, and I like my players to be result-oriented. So even self, and they say, don't say that. I might be able to beat you, but then I must be able to consolidate, stay compact in the back, and leave your layer play in front of me as much as possible, and try to play an counter, because I ain't coaching enough tactically for me to carry out the high-press game. A high-press game is a good collective game, you know?
Correct.
Because when Clarkey goes, Cyrus have to go, I have to come. And unless you don't have that cohesion with the players, we go be all over the place. So we end up open and exposed. And this is that tactical part I think Coach Mr. Fenwick should be aware of. I taking a young, inexperienced team to America, let them play from behind the ball as much as possible. But I think the youths and them, in all fairness to the youths and the enthusiasm, I really want to do good, and they try. I see what the players try, you know. But
Yeah,
they
it was
try.
high energy, yeah. So they
But
were-
it's just,
they wanted to take-
just going on when you're trying that kind of, and you're all over the place with energy, you get exposed because the first minute of the game, first 2 minutes of the game, you concede. In the first half was 4-0, you know. 4-0. So our goal in the first half was scoring nearly every 10 minutes. Every 10 minutes. In the second half, you see a little bit of consolidation. You see a little bit of consolidation. I don't know if, I can't say if it's the better players come on, but we was 7. They scored 7 goals in the 62nd minute, if I subjected for correction.
After hour, yeah.
After hours. So you had 30 minutes away, you see they kind of hold yourself, as you might say, the opponent might be ease up.
Take the foot off the pedal.
Take the foot off the gas.
The foot off the gas because they're not 7 on you now. So it was really, really difficult in that aspect. But basically, tactically, I think that was the tactics you should have employed in the game last night.
Coach Cyrus, Civics coach, boy, excellent.
At national level, no matter what, you going to play an opponent at national level, you have to come up with a game plan to try to win.
To win.
You're not going there to say, let me give this group of players a run so I could see where they're at. And see where they're at is for after, when you're doing your breakdown of the game. Before, in preparation and everything, you have to put in the player's head that you're going there to win. I, as the coach, have to come up with a game plan to try to win. How do I win against America with this group? I have to sit down and think about that. I have to keep myself in the game as long as possible. How do I, because you see, we're working backwards here to find the root cause.
Yeah.
How do I keep myself in the game as long as possible? I deny America from getting behind my back, forcing me to have to turn to run facing my own goal to defend.
Exactly.
Simple.
Simple.
Compact. Let them play in front us for long periods.
Yes.
Let them play in front us for long periods, no problem. You have to actually give up the thought of you thinking, well, I am going to have the ball for long periods. By us not staying compact, made the game totally difficult for us and easy for the next team. We're supposed to make the game easy for us and hard for the next team. So that tactic in itself is the wrong tactic just to even enter the game. That defensive line, no. That I am seeing our captain, the player 1-2, and he's actually looking like he walking, jogging, going back, and American players on full sprint going to the goalpost, and he looking like he just jogging, Birmingham, looking like he just jogging, going back there, and goal score, and he just shaky head and everything. Every single time we get turned, it's a 35-yard sprint to the 6-yard box.
And that was because of the high press.
That was because of the high line.
Because of the high press.
Because of the high line.
You cannot, it's difficult to high press.
Every time we get turned,
it's a
work with 35-yard sprint to the 6-yard box.
Yeah.
No. You don't play football, international football like that. You have to know where you are. Yeah. If I am training and I feel that 1v1, I could match the opponent. If I could match the opponent in every area of the field, I could beat you.
Yeah.
But if I can match you in every area of the field, then I have to make sure as a group, everybody's on the same page and we try to win the game as a team. Based on proper defensive structure, good compactness, and knowing what to do when we get the ball.
And to what Cyrus is saying,
when we get the ball.
Is if we, Steve, 4 of us here, go on a field now, and we are the back 4, although we are not all defenders, only Brian is, we will still talk to each other because we know the game, and we will try to keep ourselves organized and so on and so forth. So as players, I don't think that was their tactics. And that is why I'm saying that the team was always, the back line was always square and in the middle third of the field. and they were only running back when that ball was played over our head.
But Clarky, and these were going on, in all fairness to the football team last night, our national team, who the players met each other
2 days before.
to go and play a game.
Correct.
I don't know Steve, I don't know you, I might be saying, what's your name? I can't call you.
A kid from an academy.
In academy, and
all them
because, in
kind of-
all fairness to the players last night, and this wise, and when you look at it, it's an international friendly, so it come with our major concern. It on records that America beat Trinidad and Tobago 7-0 in a football game.
We are now a statistic. We
Yeah,
have
so
made ourselves a statistic.
this is what is the main
Worst
concern.
statistic
So
ever.
sometimes we don't say long time when we play in football. If I can't score on you, you're not scoring on me.
That's the point.
So these were going on because at the end of the day, it's a game.
Correct.
So we're looking to win the game. That's what I tell you.
Have to get a result.
If I play a small goal on the
to get a
beach,
result.
I want to beat you.
Yes.
So more so for international football. If I can't score on you, you're not going to score on me.
The group of players that Terry Fenwick was dealing with in Trinidad, training in Trinidad all the time and thing, and I think they would have played some practice games and that kind of thing, right? For how much ever months now, right? That group of players
I would
Should
have
I start
put
the
this in
game?
that group.
is a totally different team
Should
player.
I start the game? Because
That's
those are the players who are
It's
kind
a
of
totally
understanding.
different team
Yeah.
on the field last night. Eh?
So the game is football is on coaching is about adjustments.
Yes.
So from the first 5 minutes, we all saw they were cutting, they were playing here, and then
Our defensive
Diagonal
line was
ball
too
and
high
man running on, right?
from day one.
so if we see all of that happening, then we should have made some adjustments.
And we is the and yes, and exactly we as the saying as Trinidad and Tobago. But is the knowledge of the coach and his staff at that
And
point
he
in
have,
time?
at that point in time,
And that point, you have to
Because-
trust in you have to trust now in your even self, your assistants and stuff, because if Clarky is the head coach, and even self and I is the assistant, and I seen to say, Clarky boy, you know see what's going on there? Like we had Jeremy make that adjustment.
we have to drop
So-
the
so
line.
that-
But move away from the coach. You see, when you put 11 players who have not played together at all 2 days before on a team, you don't even have leadership on the field, because at the end of the day, the coach is outside. So
Right.
the players
The players have to do it,
themselves
yes.
Right.
don't even know who to look to as the leader on the team to say, well, you know
Right.
what, we will talk to the coach. I know the
Right.
coach say to do this,
Right.
but I as the captain say, let us drop off,
Right.
because I know football.
But
Right.
You don't have a leader.
And Clarky, and your point well taken. Your point well
you don't
taken.
have a leader
And
with
that's why I
leadership
talk.
quality.
Yeah.
And that's why I talk about my disappointment in basic football
Football
intelligence and knowledge. Because if I playing and I know this man only beating me on my left side, I want to put him on my right side. Oh, I ain't going on because I stay no because he quick,
Yeah.
Or even so I want to meet him before he start to run at me,
Correct.
So when I watch these type of basic things that was lacking with our players. That's why I'm saying, that's why in my opening remarks I say, are these really the best players and young players in Trinidad and Tobago that we could have choose from to represent the national team? And that is where bring my whole disappointment with the performance of the players. I'm not disappointed about results
The
and things
result, I
because
don't know about this
I don't know. Chalk and cheese. Hardly likely we was going there to beat America, as Cyrus said.
We
But I was
understand
watching
that.
to see.
We
I was
understand
watching to see how these players, these young players, represent Trinidad and Tobago, or what I would see from them in terms of the individual intelligence and gameplay.
And most importantly, I wanted to see what was the coaching philosophy. That is what I wanted to see.
We got 5 goals with men running in behind. The first 3 goals, men running behind. So you're saying and that's just 3 goals. What about the other chances that Fonset save?
Point blank right there.
Where,
Inside the 6-yard box.
if he didn't come up with those saves, we'd have get 12.
Inside
How
the
about
6-yard inside the 6-yard box,
We see, Fonset for me was he get 7, but Fonset for me was all right on the night.
Yeah.
And the little market boy, the number 10, the Rasta man in the midfield. But other than that,
we ain't seen nothing positive to talk about.
you're on the Trinidad team. What it is? Can you point to say, well, because as a group of players. All right.
That is why I'm focusing on the coaching
So Fenwick in Fenwick defense, we have players on the field who can see, hey, high pressure is not working, and you back off.
Back off.
because they're slicing us in.
But Clarky just said we do have a lead. We have somebody with an armband on the field. You know?
It doesn't matter. Anybody would say,
There's
hey,
a man with an
this is
armband on the
what-
field. So when we're looking for leadership on the field, who we looking to? Not the man with the armband. If the man with the armband can move, last night, you know what? He can't move. He can't turn and drop the line of the defense. If he can't move and he leading the defense, everybody going to run in behind.
No, but you, and even Fenwick could have said, hey, this high press is not working, and make the adjustment. It's not like basketball, you can
Coach
take a
said,
timeout.
he went in with a game plan.
It's not like basketball, you can take a timeout.
Coach said he went in with a
Even
game
basic.
plan. So the game plan on the day can't change?
No, of
Match
course
day
it could
tactics
change.
could change.
No, we didn't say it can't change. It is what we saw in the first 5 minutes. We realized high press is not going to work. You know, them guys were slicing that like nothing.
Right.
So at that point, we should say, stop the bleeding. Hey, pull off. Let's wait.
Right.
And until we
Right.
can talk again.
And Steve and Cyrus, and you see, inexperience with these young players to impress my coach, I could see these players like they hardly want to oppose what was said to them.
And I was going,
yeah, you know this kind of.
Fenwick is not a coach that you can reason with.
If you could make your own personal adjustment.
Yeah, and while we're on Fenwick, you see, I have always had issue with coaches on the whole.
You have an issue with me and Brandon?
No, wait. Hear me, right here my point. With coaches on the whole, for 90 minutes of the game, as long as the player's playing, you on the sideline shouting every instruction. Pass their right, pass their left. It means that you did not do your work. And obviously, you only had 2 days, right? But my point is that also is the style of Harry Fenwick.
But and quickly, in 2016,
2 days with that group what you put on the field.
in 2016,
Once he was coaching a group in Trinidad.
Sarah Samuel Clark is saying that I could attest it. In 2016, we took a under 16 team to Italy, W Connection, right? The under 16. And while the young boys they did well in Italy, but the coach was telling me, he say, know what's going on? He say, you have a nice little team and stuff like that. They might know going on. He say, those players dependent on you too much to play because we have a way, we Caribbean coaches always balling from the side of the field. Do this, pass there. And from that we're going on because we get accustomed to now. That's how we must play. That's how we must play football because
Right.
all of our coach ball whole game at the side of the, from the
Right.
side of the field
Right.
and never give the players any opportunity.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we will get a little bit more into coaching strategy and all of that. And like I said, I think players have a lot to do with it as well. Viewers, we'll be right back after a short break.
When you look at the game, as we all could identify, the little Dwayne Muckett boy was pretty decent, and we saw where he put on the ball, his supporting angles, his constant movement to search for the ball to make himself available was a really, really nice, positive one.
Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome to another edition of Scoreboard here on ACT, and it's always a pleasure to be in your company every Tuesday evening between the hours of 8 and 9.
We, from those encounters together, and this was a North-South game to open the season.
So the team might be playing well, as we always say with Trinidad and Tobago.
Futsal did that great for me.
Okay, hey everybody. Welcome to another edition of Field of Dreams on ACTN. My name is Steve David. I'm your host. Okay, welcome back, viewers. Okay, we have done a good job at what we did wrong. So I want to hear some positives that you guys can take out of that game. Like Fenwick now has to look at that game either put the guys to sit down and see how bad they were, but also identify some good stuff. So let's see if we can identify some good things that happened in that game.
Here's Steve, on a positive, right, from the game last, and there's not much to choose from, eh? But I should say from a positive perspective, I think when you look at the game, as we all could identify, the little Dwayne Muckett boy was pretty decent, and we saw where he put on the ball, his supporting angles, his constant movement to search for the ball, to make himself available was a really, really nice, positive one. The Adrian Fonset boy, he also, goalkeeper, he tries his best. But the positive out of that, I would say, is for the coach to sit with himself. Well, the coach, Trinidad and Tobago, the TTFA, to supposed to look to see how much out of the group, or how best we already invested in that group, or how best we could keep either those players, the best of those players together, with who they could join and look forward for the future. As Clarky mentioned recently, a national team sometimes take about 10 plus years to really come to really fruition, to really stand up and operate. But I think that is some of the things that we could look at. Those boys, they get some type of international exposure. Is how we could either harness from it and keep them together as best as possible. It mightn't be much to choose from, but the best out of the lot, where we could see, where we could keep and continue, we should try to keep them along and see how best we could go forward. But it's not, as I said before, it's not, and I said it's not much to choose, positive to choose from.
Cyrus?
Yeah. Because of the lack of preparation, because of the opponent, there might be the diamond in the rough out there that would not have been able to showcase himself. Right? All right. With that being said, Fonset is the reason that we didn't get 12. He is the reason we didn't get 12. About 3 or 4 point-blank saves first half and back end. The little number 10 guy who Brian mentioned, the little Muckett boy, that boy is a footballer.
A good footballer.
Very intelligent, and the reason why we could have seen it stand out is because he's aware of what is going on around him all the time.
Yes, always make himself available.
Always know where to be, where not to be, who is coming. If he's coming on my left, if he's coming on my right, a very, very intelligent footballer.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What we could take out of this as a positive for the future is now the players could sit and see and watch, and the coach could try to handpick this, that, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, you didn't do that, you didn't do this. Okay? Now, I am thinking that scoreline could have been less with one change of match day tactic if we just drop the line.
There you go.
You understand what I'm saying? It's like these players cannot just drop the line because the coach say, don't do that. I don't know. But if the line was dropped, I'm thinking that scoreline could have been less. If we played compact from the front, give up chasing on top. When the ball reaches a certain zone, we try to win it, and then we look to go forward. I am thinking it's that, based on where we were at.
Mm-hmm.
Based on where we were at. We're not in a place where we could just go and play that kind of expansive, high-intensity football. Always want to turn and chase. And I don't think we're in that place yet. As a matter of fact, I know we're not in that place yet. If Clark is saying not 2022, not 2026, 2030, we're in 2021. Like 9 years from now.
9 years.
9 years from now. Teams what play in so much a World Cup, Costa Rica, they put a plan in place 10 years before the under 17 make the final, the under 17 World Cup final against Switzerland. 10 years they sit down in a round table like how we sitting here and put that in place. What happened 10 years down the road? The under-17 team make the World Cup under-17 final against Switzerland. What happened in the next World Cup? What happened in the next World Cup? The next World Cup, Costa Rica beat Italy, and 17 of those 22 players that was in the under-17 final was on the senior team.
Yes.
So they put a plan in place to progress to that.
I want to play devil's advocate here because I saw, we said high press wasn't working and they can drop back. But I saw US because this is, me as a striker, I love when the defense is backing up, blind the goalkeeper, and just bend it around, and when the goalkeeper do see it, it's already in the back of the net. And I saw the US score a goal like that last night from the top of the box.
Yeah, yeah.
So the adjustments, we might have said, okay, drop back. And then the US coach might have changed his strategy.
Right.
And make something else happen.
Right.
So we can never say, but let me get Clarky a chance to say his piece.
Steve, at the end of the game, football is a game of space and numbers. And you always try to outnumber, your opponent in any particular area of the field. And once you are compact, you have less space and you have the numbers. So no matter what you look at in terms of what the tactics would have been, you now need a higher level of skill because you have a smaller space to maneuver in. You don't have a lot of field to run in. So it would have made an impact, right? Let's start there, right? But I want to start, yes, we want to talk positive. But I want to make this statement before I start with the positive, because there are some positives.
Mm-hmm.
One of the positives is that I hope everybody recognizes that we have to take our eye off our results of our national senior team, and we have to focus them on youth development. That is a positive.
For sure.
Secondly,
for sure,
a coach, a team will only look as good as the tactics of the coach, because the coach will pick the players to fit his tactics. And if you choose, for example, Leo Ben-Hacker, we will all say that Russell Bright Latapi was the greatest right footballer in our generation, right? But Russell Latapi didn't play in the first game of the 2006 World Cup. He didn't play in the second game of the 2006 World Cup because he didn't fit into the tactics of Leo Ben-Hacker, that he was not seeing Russell Latapi in his tactics.
Mm-hmm.
We have to understand the coach that we have. Terry Fenwick is a very aggressive coach, meaning that he likes to play, that is how Jablote plays. Very high press, very fit players running, closing on angles and so on. But that tactic will work with a different skill level of local footballers. You have international footballers with a lot higher skill level that even though the space is closed, they will still be able to maneuver. For example, Leo Messi, right? You have man markers on these players and they still are able to maneuver in these international teams and games in the world. So you have to understand that the tactics of the coach will determine the players that he chooses. I agree with Cyrus. The players, I can't assess any of the players there that night because again, I'm blaming the coach. The tactics were totally wrong for that game, and it had all of the players like headless chickens. Although Fonset performed extremely well, if he had a compact defense, he would have even been able to control and talk to his defenders and move them around.
Less exposed.
Be less exposed in terms of that. So I don't want to judge any of the players right now from that game.
Who would you like to see there? So you guys, tell me some of the players you would like to see inserted into this team. No, we ain't talking about taking anybody out. Who would you like to see as part of this squad? As locals?
We have the Joven Jones boy.
We have several.
Yeah, it have Molino. Them
It have
two
Molino.
big
It have,
additions,
it have, but I know, this is why I'm saying they wouldn't be
Molino and Jones.
They wouldn't be available right now, but because those players are active with the teams right now.
Yeah, but we're building though. We talking. We can't talk about both sides of our mouth. We're building.
Or building.
Who the younger players we can build.
No, well, the Jones and the Molino boy will make that team stronger, but they will be senior players.
But they are already senior
We're
players.
talking about 2030 is what you guys say. We're talking about years from now.
Well, these were going on.
Or 26.
And that's why I'm saying these were going on.
They
have the young Garcias and these will be saying, Stephen, a proper structure now. We will know with a proper run league and stuff, because some players come up that we will see that we'll be doing well and stuff. But they because we had a under 15 national team in training recently, which was dismantled as far as I understand, which was, I think it was under Stuart Charles Favier. I think they had some decent games and performance against the Mexicos and things. They were a little tournament. So these are to look for the future. These are the age group that we'll have to look into, our U17s and stuff like that, right, for the future. But presently, now to add, we'll know we have a few of them, the Levi Garcias, as we say, the Molinos and the Joven Jones and them to add. I think Kalim Highland might be still could add a little something to the national team from a senior level. But youth football right now, we have to look at that last under 17 or under 15 team, which we had under Stuart Charles and Stern John and these guys that we had recently. So these are the players, because that team had one or two nice little players, the little Jesse Can boy, Mully Can boy and stuff like that. It have a few of them that they could shoot, but in doing that thing. But in saying so, as a coach, I think Mr. Fenwick also too will have to look at himself, look at me and say, no, I'm the national coach, and this is Trinidad and Tobago. What is the best tactics, or what is the best thing that I could do in relation to Trinidad and Tobago football, what I have presently? Because I might watch high press, or I might watch how modern football is. Modern football is, we say, a lot of high press and aggression. But I should say, what will suit Trinidad and Tobago? Because fitness, proper nutrition and things, what our players do on a daily basis, will all have to take into consideration to produce a real functioning national team. A real functioning national team. So the coach also had to look into himself and say, what tactics I could employ to make sure that the Trinidad and Tobago team given all that we're looking at and resources, that we can make them a little more effective or to play for we to get the best
but Brian,
results.
Ryan, let me ask this question.
The result.
What is our national footballing philosophy?
Well, exactly.
Having a new coach who just come based on the situation in the world with the COVID and that kind of thing, how does he implement the philosophy? Well, but not through training.
No. Generally, we say, and I'm going to answer our story.
No, I'm not talking about philosophy. Just
I'm not talking about the way how we play.
Yeah.
Yes.
The way how we play?
Yeah, go ahead, Brad.
Why I saying, Clarky, what we have to do here now, Cyrus, this way we have to sit down as a body and come with how...
Understanding our culture,
right,
our
how we should bring the philosophy.
Correct.
Philosophy dealing with thinking.
Right.
Thinking. So this is how we would play. So we will now come our technical staff, through our technical director, we come and we sit and that way. And that's why I'm saying a proper program and structure in terms of that collective understanding.
And that philosophy has to be taught from
because we go so far. We go so far.
From here coming up.
From the Dutch and them. A few years ago, nearly all the Dutch teams in the first division play the same way. So when I want a right wing, and I looking at the best, and then I'm saying, I have no problem within our structure that we introduce what we used to have a long time. I see North, South, and Central. Right. So if you can make North team, you can make the national team. And when I have North, South play, and whatever it could come to that too, when I'm watching at that player now, I can know, hey, I can watch out I want a right back. Let me watch at north right back or south right
But let
back.
me add one more thing, Brad.
Right.
What we saw last night
Yes.
with that high press, and that is not how Trinidad and Tobago plays. And that is my point.
But
That philosophy
Could be challenging.
Could be
challenging
extremely challenging for
because
footballers.
in the modern games, in the modern game,
it might have a game
that is how
where you might have to play
that is
that way,
how modern teams
But
play.
We ain't saying we have to play that way, but it might have a game where you might have to play that way.
I know.
No, and this was saying, sir,
But
sir,
we're not ready to play that way. No.
is a way that we have to play. The world playing so now, but it will have to be introduced.
Yeah.
It will have to be introduced gradually.
You have to know
So
your
taking
opponent.
that, I never coach
You have to know
outside.
where you at.
Oh, me and all the players and come and tell them we play that.
Correct.
And leaving
And that's
myself,
my point.
exposing myself, exposing
And that
myself.
high-
So
that
it will
high-
take
that
the
high
same
line,
10,
the high defensive line.
the same 10, 15 years in preparation to play. So is what we need to introduce now. So gradually, all right, like in training, we'll say, hey, for the first 20 minutes, and I get it into the players. For the first 20 minutes, I want you to high press. And you've got to teach the player because you have to be open-minded to play all out, to pull off.
Correct.
To play middle line. You have to teach them to play all out.
The under 15 team that we talk about that was under David John Williams with Stuart Charles there. That under 15 team we talk about. Go to the team we play yesterday. America team we play yesterday. Average age 20, 21, 22. They together 5 to 7 years. It means that they would have been together
14
since
years,
the age of 13 and 14.
13 and 14 years.
Since they was 13 and 14. So the same thing that was being done with Stuart Charles Feviende as a plan for the future, America did it.
Strategic planning because knowledge, we know them.
America did it. So watch what they're churning out. They churn out a second string team of 30-something men,
Steve won't take it.
of 30-something players, and the first string team, every trying to feel it.
I'll tell you what, we need another 2 days to finish the show.
Yes.
Definitely.
Because you guys have a lot to say. Viewers,
Definitely. Need a
you can
part two.
tell they are
part two.
excited. And we have to end now, though. Time has run out on us. I want to thank you guys for being here. And we'll bring you back next week or another week to finish off this
We need
thing.
a part two. We need a part two.
ACTN, thanks for the opportunity. Viewers, thank you for tuning in every Monday night. And we do repeat on a Tuesday at 1 and a Saturday at 1. You guys as well, thank you guys for being here. We do have a Facebook page, you can check us out, and we do have an email address, fieldofdreamtv@gmail.com. You can drop us a line. Show is ended. Go in peace. My name is Steve David. Good night.